Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's good to be with you this morning. Here we are at the end of another week. And I'd like to share a couple of verses with you today from the 25th Psalm, verses 4 and 5. Show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long, I put my hope in you. You know, from the time we're little, we're being taught. Maybe you have some fond memories of your parents teaching you. I remember my dad taught me how to play baseball. We were in the backyard. It was a little difficult for him to teach me how to hit the ball because he was left-handed and I'm not left-handed. But somehow we figured it out, and we used to be in the backyard, which when I think about it now wasn't very big. And he would toss the ball, and my brother and I would practice hitting it and throwing it back and forth and that sort of thing. And we learned. We had someone who taught us. Now, I don't know that I wouldn't have learned how to play baseball if it hadn't been for my dad, but I certainly wouldn't have learned at that time. And then I remember when my dad taught me how to ride a bicycle. You know, we didn't do training wheels in those days. We just got on the bike and tried. And we fell, and we got up and we fell. And where I lived, there wasn't much asphalt. So you didn't have that or concrete driveways. You had a gravel driveway. And when you fell, boy, it really kind of hurt. And I remember my dad, he would get behind and grab the seat with his hand and tell me to pedal. And he'd run along beside me, hanging on to the seat. You know, sooner or later, Dad would let go, and it was up to me to ride the bike. Almost invariably at first, when I looked around and saw he wasn't there, I fell over. And finally I learned I don't have to look around, and I can actually do this thing. See, throughout life, we're learning. We're learning from situations, from people. I don't remember much from my elementary years in school. Maybe you do better than I do. But certainly I learned a lot there that set a foundation for what was to come. Now, unlike probably many of you, I didn't go to church as a little boy. My parents didn't take me. They didn't go with me either. In fact, the only thing I remember about church was sometimes on Easter and Christmas we would go. And that was really about it. No one taught me the right way to grow spiritually. So I was sort of left on my own to try to figure it out. And sometimes when we're left on our own, we figure things out pretty well. And, well, sometimes we don't. And this passage here talks about learning. And it's not just for little kids. It's even for people older than me. And let's look at it again. It says, show me the right path, O Lord. Point out the road for me to follow. Well, now that implies that there's more than one path. You see, we don't have to follow God. He allows us the freedom to choose not to. We don't have to. He won't make us. And if we choose not to walk with him, well, then we get the consequences of not walking with him. And sometimes those aren't too good. And if the Bible's right, in the long run, they're pretty ugly. But we can choose that. And there the psalmist is saying, show me the right path, O Lord. There are many paths. I don't know which one you're on, but the Lord wants you to show the right one, the correct one. Now, when I use the word correct, I don't really mean right or wrong, though that's it, but I mean the one that provides the best life, the best opportunity to fulfill all that you were made for. There are many, many different roads you can take. Just look around you. Look at the people you interact with. Many of those have taken other roads. My kids have taken other roads. But yet the psalmist says, Lord, teach me your path. Point out the road for me to follow. And then he says, lead me by your truth and teach me. What is truth? Well, philosophically, that's something that's been debated for most of mankind's years here on this earth. We're faced today with all kinds of truth. In fact, some even called it truth and then alternative truth. But, really, that doesn't make any sense. The truth that shows the compassion of God is the true truth. And anyone whose religion teaches them that they shouldn't be compassionate and that they can be angry and they can be nasty to another person, that's the wrong one. It just flat out is. Jesus never, ever walked down that road. Oh, sure, he condemned the scribes and the Pharisees and the hypocrites, but these were people who were speaking for God. He didn't condemn the leper. He didn't condemn the adulterer. He didn't condemn the thief. He didn't condemn anybody. He just invited them to come with him along the road that leads to God's truth. And this passage here, the psalmist is asking God to lead him in that direction. He says, lead me on your path, show me your path, lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves, and all day long I will put my hope in you. I don't know what you put your hope in. Maybe it's yourself. Maybe it's your own abilities. Maybe it's in things. Maybe it's in your status as a person in the community. Maybe it's, I don't know. There are endless possibilities. But the one thing I do know is when we put our hope in the Lord, and when we choose to walk with him, he will show us the path that brings us peace and joy and fullness of life. Well, I hope that's who you find to guide you today. I hope this coming weekend will be just terrific. May it be filled with your joyful times and your smiles and all of those things that make life so good. Thanks so much for listening today. I do ask that if you have a prayer concern or a need, you call us. And we'll do everything we can, as fast as we can, to help meet your need. Thanks again. I'll talk to you on Monday. God bless you.